Hey, yo, lesson here, babe. You come at the king, you best not miss.
And I'm going to say this. I want you all to look at Representative Jasmine Crockett. You all know who she is, the black woman congressperson out of Dallas, Texas, who was all over the news, and she's on everybody's podcast, and you know, the sassy black woman.
It's me.
Ms. Crockett.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling, if someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
Who has all these takes, you know, the woman who, you know, likes to one up, you know, white women and everything like that.
So, Congressman Crockett, who do you think that the Democrats in the Senate, your colleagues in the Senate, should really fight on?
I definitely think Tulsi.
Tulsi
I think,
Gabbard.
yeah, absolutely.
You didn't overlap with her, but former Democratic member of the House.
Yeah, no, but she is a clear danger.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
So I looked over at her because we sit on the same row, and from head to toe, I dressed her down. So bleach blonde. And then my granny, who I like love and miss every day, she used to call people bad built. So if you know anything about old black women, they like have no filter at a certain age. And that was my grandma. So that was inspired by my grandma. And then, you know, she's always trying to lift like she's a man. So I did butch body.
Nancy Mace, you know, these congresswomen from South Carolina and Georgia and everything. Jasmine Crockett is the last of I'm inclined to say a dying breed, but the last of a breed, a capitalist breed, whose market value is increasingly diminishing.
Wrote in the New York Times, he's excellent. Don't believe Trump.
Yeah.
And what he said is that Trump has never really wanted to be president. He actually has always wanted to be king. And he also says that his plan this time is to first play king on television. And if we believe he is already king, we will be likelier to let him govern as a king.
That is that over the last decade or so, we've seen people like this in the media, the sister girls, rise and make money by talking directly to white people, calling white people white supremacists and calling them racist. Everybody is a racist and everything like that.
I worry about my children's future, especially my daughter, who now has less rights than I have. And I remember my father telling me many, many years ago that I was the first person in his family to enjoy full civil rights. And now I have less civil rights than I had when he told me that. So again, I'm profoundly disturbed that the 14th Amendment of the Constitution did not prevent someone who participated in an insurrection from becoming president of the United States.
For years, Donald Trump did everything in his power to try to make people fear us. See, his limited, narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hardworking, highly educated, successful people who happen to be black.
We've laid out the stakes in this crucial election, where one side stands for freedom while the other meets the textbook definition of fascism, namely a far-right dictatorial regime like Hitler's Germany.
We still don't know for sure whether Donald Trump was hit by a bullet.
Doubling down on ugly, misogynistic, racist lies as a substitute for real ideas and solutions that will actually make people's lives better.
But Jasmine Crockett, she's a younger woman. She's younger than Joy Reid. I'm going to get to Joy Reid in a minute.
They're increasingly, from the Tea Party on, they're voting on race. They're voting on this idea of an invasion of brown people over the border. The idea that they can't get whatever job they want. A black person got it, therefore drive all the blacks out of the colleges.
And she argued that Harris voters should avoid Thanksgiving dinner with their Trump voting relatives.
Well, here's an alternative thought. Make your own dinner, MAGA. Make your own sandwiches. Wipe your own tears. Troll amongst yourselves with Elon and leave us alone.
But she's the last one. She's the last one. She's the last among the sister girls who is making money off of telling white people how racist she thinks that they are.
You know, somebody very smart said to me recently that the challenge with women's basketball is that most of the stars are black, but most of the great players are black, but most of the stars are white, whether it's who's getting awarded by the ESPN, whether who's getting noticed by the magazines. And like you said, if there were charter flights, Brittany Griner would not have ended up in a gulag, right? These ladies are flying commercial and they're not treated as like the men are. How much of this do you think, though, is the marketing potential of a Caitlin Clark? Because quite frankly, this is a league that is largely, as you said, largely black women. It's also largely LGBTQ. She's a white heterosexual woman. And so if you're trying to get white dads to go spend their money and buy season tickets, she seems like a marketing opportunity. How much of it is that?
I don't know why people find that to be controversial to think about that. I mean, we know that marketing is about ability, talent, all those things. And nobody's saying that Caitlin Clark doesn't have those things. It's like she's incredibly talented. She's broken record. She's playing a playing style that people love, that is very representative of what we see today, particularly on the men's side. But yes, it helps that she's white, straight in from Iowa, in a league that has faced marketing challenges throughout the history over the last 3 decades that it's been in existence. It's faced marketing challenges because of the things that you mentioned, because 70% of the players are black women, because a third of them identify as LGBTQ+. Yes, it has faced challenges. So when you say that Caitlin Clark's whiteness and the fact that she's straight plays a role, underlined a role in her popularity, that's not a diss to Caitlin Clark. It's just simply America.
Especially those white people who voted for Donald Trump, those white people who are hardcore MAGA Republicans.
In the lead up to Donald Trump's second term in the White House, Reid condemned the white Christians who supported him in the Iowa caucuses, claiming they want non-whites to bow down to them.
None of that matters when you believe that God has given you this country, that it is yours, and that everyone who is not a white conservative Christian is a fraudulent American.
She is the last.
So if you met an attractive man and y'all had a good conversation,
that in the way. Hey, we're ready. What's the questions?
What's your name?
I'm Key.
And you?
I'm ready.
Why do you think it's appropriate to just run up in our interview mid-conversation?
I'm gonna lie, they white and I don't give a f***.
I
never give.
Are you just looking for attention?
No, never. I never gave. We want to be fun and come over the video.
But if I'm in the middle of a conversation with 2 people.
I'm sorry, y'all. He feel disrespect down below. You have a problem with it? I'm good. So what's the problem now? What's the problem now?
I mean,
we are girls. We are girls, aren't we? Anywho, what's next?
Salute to BMI 3000 Reloaded. I make this video, believe it or not, out of love for black women. I have black women in my family. I have a black daughter. I mean, I can't avoid being connected to black women. We're connected at the hip. And in this time where a president is this popular, you see, like the video I added at the very end, a kind of entitlement that black women particularly can act the way that they choose to. They can say what they want to say. And at certain times, in certain places, it's tolerated. But what we're seeing now in this newer climate is that there is a growing backlash, push against that. You see it with the firing of Joy Reid. You see it with the backlash of Michelle Obama not showing up at the inauguration. And now you're starting to see it in a wider variety of areas. And I fear a bit for Jasmine Crockett, the representative out of Texas, because she could lose her office or she could draw the ire of someone that maybe she probably doesn't want to. I would hope nothing terrible would happen, but what I could say is, as a black man who would be in charge of protecting a black woman or whoever my mate might be, there's a time to make your point heard, and then there's a time to plan for your next move later. You don't always have to make the loudest sentence or statement when you feel it. Sometimes you can just plan and plot your next move while the other person is riding high. And unfortunately, I see many of these black women, as often is said by the likes of BGS Itmore, by BMI 3000 Reloaded, even by Dr. Tiasan Johnson, that they're putting themselves in a position where they can be the symbol of something that people can point at and say, that's the problem with all of this. And that's what I fear the most. For the black women that are simply putting themselves in these positions, I'd say, instead of putting yourself in that position, maybe you could plan your next move and plot so that when it's time to make your attack, you could do it in a more tactful way and take yourself out of harm's way. Because that's what I fear the most. Be careful, black women, because this is no time to wear out your welcome to the Americans that decide elections. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. Catch you in the next video. Take care.